We're here now with our OSU ag economist, Dr. John Michael Riley. So John Michael, this last Friday, the WASDE report came out again. Going into the new year, what is that kind of showing us with the crop markets?
A lot of information was given to us on Friday, not just the WASDE. We also got the crop production report. It always comes out with the WASDE. Quarterly grain stocks report, winter crop plantings report. So a lot of information flowed into the market on Friday, and all of it really was a surprise for pretty much everything except for wheat. We saw some adjustments to corn and soybean yield in the positive for the market. And then on the other side, we saw an increase in cotton yield, which had a negative impact on the market. So a lot of information, all of it was pretty much a surprise based on how the market reacted. And so that's kind of where we're starting the new year off.
Yeah, so let's go back into wheat and corn and soybeans real quick. Let's talk about those.
Absolutely. For the wheat side of things, not a lot of significant changes, mostly where we expected those to be, where they were prior to the report coming out. A lot of that because we're in the middle of the crop growing, and all of that's based on last year's harvest. So on the corn and soybean side of things, though, that's where we saw those really big moves. USDA shaved a bushel per acre off of soybean yield and 3.8 bushels per acre off of corn yield. Now, some of that has been expected to be seen, but it's just we didn't know when USDA was going to bring that into the report. Mentioned a little bit of that last fall whenever we were having some of these conversations, that as corn and beans were beginning to harvest, they started drying up quite a bit in the Midwest, and test yields were down quite a bit. So that was largely, we were waiting on that to happen, but it finally happened, and it happened in a big way, and really surprised the markets in that regard.
Yeah, and so let's dive back into cotton. You said it kind of went the opposite direction.
Absolutely. Cotton yield was increased almost 60 pounds per acre from what the report showed in December, and as the opposite side of that, market kind of reacted negatively, and cotton prices were down on the day, and they've kind of stayed in that down cycle since then.
Yeah, so moving from these national numbers to kind of more local, we got some snow here in Oklahoma this past weekend. So what does that possibly mean for this next harvest?
Well, hopefully it's going to expect to see some improvements in soil moisture as the crop is kind of been in that dormant stage, kind of staying there. But certainly, hopefully, it's going to improve that soil moisture, not just for our wheat acres, but also for our spring crops as we start making those decisions on those acres moving forward.
Yeah, and then lastly, as we move into this new year, what are some things that we should be keeping an eye on?
Well, I think one thing that I've mentioned in the past, I'll keep mentioning it, is this weaker than typical basis that our crop markets are experiencing here in Oklahoma. Something we'll keep an eye on. We want you to keep an eye on as well. And also, as we think about the administration taking over and how that's going to impact some major aspects with regard to domestic agriculture, but more importantly, how that's going to impact trade.
All right, thanks, John Michael. We'll catch back up with you in a couple of weeks.